Shalise Manza Young of the Boston Globe joining us on 104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports. Shalise has been kind enough now to join us for the last couple of weeks. She's there obviously on the ground at Gillette Stadium at the Patriots headquarters. And yesterday, Shalise, we're sitting here in studio listening and watching the Tom Brady press conference. Did you ever believe it would look that crazy, that it would be that nuts? It looked like an absolute circus.
It was a sideshow of it was like out of a really cheesy TV show, you know, or when you see people coming out of the courthouse on TV and there's all those reporters and, you know, the extras trying to write notes and take little pictures and things like that, and people just yelling at the person coming out of the courthouse. Or it was, in retrospect now, I find it hilarious because all of these people who really, let's be honest, probably know little to nothing about football, probably don't understand why they should be outraged, assuming they should be outraged about a couple of PSI, if that's what we're really talking about, asking all these questions. And, you know, my favorite one was the guy, you know, Tom Brady, you're a hero to a lot of people. What do you say to people who want to know, are you a cheater? And yeah. One of my good friends on the beat was next to me, and I just grabbed his arm to stop myself from cracking up laughing at how ridiculous it was.
Yeah. No, it seemed ridiculous from here. In all of your years of covering the Patriots, is this the wackiest thing that you've ever seen hit New England?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I was there for Spygate and the press conference that Bill had to have once the Spygate investigation concluded, and when he read his little statement and then shot down everything after that. That was, you know, I think it was a different time, and it was only 7.5 years ago, whatever it was, but that was before Twitter. It was before the 24-hour news cycle had really, really blown up the way it has, and that was his first offense. And now I think there's so many people who love to hate Bill Belichick that this little, you know, this story of impropriety potentially comes up and it just explodes. And the thing that's even more absurd to me is, you know, people are questioning Tom Brady like that. Where were those people when Ray Rice was on video beating his fiance? You know, where was all the outrage when something significant actually happened? And look, if they deliberately deflated some of the balls in an effort to try to gain an advantage, then they should be punished. But I you know, the NFL silence, but it's still not as serious as some other things. And I think it's just at this point way out of proportion to what the actual offense could be.
Right, and as you said, it's the Patriots. They're going to the Super Bowl. You know, you love to hate the Patriots. You know, I'm from Dallas originally. Same thing. Love to hate the Cowboys. It all gets blown out of proportion. Shalise Manza Young with us on 104.5 The Team. It's Armen and Levack, your home for New York sports. Shalise Manza Young of the Boston Globe. Shalise, one of the reasons why, as much as this story is ad nauseum for yourself and myself and everyone in sports radio and a lot of sports fans, at the same time, yesterday, Belichick denies everything. Brady denies everything. So the story is still open-ended. It's still ongoing. Where are we at as far as finding an answer to all of this? Do you believe Brady and Belichick both that they had no idea that any of this happened?
Well, your guess is as good as mine as to when we're actually going to get any significant information on this. I emailed the NFL last night, and they said they were still not commenting on this. So that's a big part of the problem to me with this whole situation is there's still so many questions, and we just don't have answers to them. You know, Bill Belichick, there is it's plausible that he wouldn't really know anything about the football because, you know, when during the course of a game, maybe a wayward ball comes his way and he just puts his hand up to protect himself from getting smacked in the face with the ball. Tom Brady handles the ball on every single snap. You know, we know this. That's football 101. That's how it goes. So I do think Brady might know a little bit more than he let on, and I'm actually surprised. I thought the way that Bill's press conference went yesterday, that Tom was going to come out and say, you know what, I like the ball a little under PSI. It's never been a problem before. I'm sorry it's become a problem now. I really thought that's what was going to happen, and that the league would find Tom. Everybody loves Tom Brady. He's not, you know, the evil hoodie that everybody, you know, dislikes Bill Belichick. they'd fine him and they'd move on, and that'd be the end of it. But I was really surprised it didn't go that way yesterday. So, yes, I've asked to speak to, well, who does handle the footballs for the Patriots? Who's the ball boy? Who's the equipment person that does handle the footballs? Can I talk to that person? I've been shot down. I've even been shot down to talk to Robert Kraft and get his opinion on this, because this is another relatively minor situation that is really bringing a stain upon the success of his team that he loves so much. So, I'm sure everybody would love to have this be resolved within the next 48 hours before the Patriots head to Arizona, but I don't think that's going to happen. And that, again, like I said, there are so many questions that we have unanswered. And my gut feeling more and more is starting to be that, yes, the Patriots, the footballs that they brought to the officials 2 hours before the game, they were a little underinflated. And Walt Anderson's crew just checked for any irregularities, checked for any visible signs of and problems. They gave him a little squeeze. They felt fine, and that was that. I think in the end we could find out that they didn't properly measure them, and that's where the problem comes in. But again, will we ever find that out?
Right.
It's just such strange situation.
It's nuts. Shalise Manza Young of the Boston Globe. Shalise, you had mentioned Bill Belichick. You wouldn't be surprised at all if he didn't know, because he never touches the football. You're around him every day, and I want you to give us this firsthand perspective, because we look at him as the mad scientist who knows just the little nuances of the game and every little detail. He dominates all of that. I mean, he knows it all. Is there any way that Tom Brady would ever do anything like this, or go to any measures, or anyone on the team would ever go to any measures like this? And at no point in the history of Bill Belichick's existence with the Patriots, nobody's ever said, hey, coach, just want to let you know we're doing this, or is it okay that we're doing this, or if we keep it between us, if we keep it off there. Do you really believe that he really knew that never before this has ever happened, or they've ever done this?
No, and that's why I said there's the way he framed it, he made it so there is some plausible deniability. But you're right. I mean, I've been around long enough to know nothing happens in Gillette Stadium without Bill Belichick either approving it or knowing about it. So if Tom Brady does much prefer a ball at 12 PSI as opposed to 12.5, which is the standard minimum, he probably knows it. But again, he can go up there and just sort of plead ignorance, because for most people, you're like, well, yeah, why would he mess with the footballs? Because he's on the sideline with a headset and a Surface tablet or whatever it is during the course of the game. So he sort of can sell it and spin it that way. But again, at the end of the day, nothing happens within Gillette Stadium without Bill Belichick knowing about it.
Shalise Manza Young of the Boston Globe with Armen and Levack on 104.5 The Team. One of the biggest surprises of Brady's press conference, Shalise, if not the biggest surprise, was Tom Brady saying that he has not yet spoken to the NFL. ESPN's Andrew Brandt and some other legal analysts are saying that it's pretty evident that the Patriots lawyers, or just lawyers in general, have gotten involved, got to Brady, and that he gave some lawyers speak yesterday, and that he had some NFL code words and, wisdom words that he used. You've been interviewing Tom Brady for a long time. Did you feel like yesterday he had been coached for that press conference?
Yeah, I think he had, but probably, this Tom Brady's incredibly savvy. He knows exactly what he's saying when he's at that podium. I would venture to guess that even the intensity and some of the vitriol that you felt in the room yesterday, he may have actually been taken aback by some of that. Particularly, there was this one woman in the front row who she wouldn't even let him finish. And at one point he finally just shot her a dirty look, let me finish. So I do think he may have been taken aback by just the sheer madness of what happened in that media workroom yesterday. But I do think that he, certainly had been coached or talked through how he was going to approach this whole thing. The NFL not talking to him, I think that's odd as well, if they're really trying to get this investigation over with quickly. But at the same time, it's been, said to me that they're probably trying to gather all of their facts, and then they're going to present their case to Brady and say, this is what we have. tell us, is this really what happened?
Shalise, what's the percentage of people in the media room yesterday that you'd never seen before in your life?
Probably at least 50%.
That's so
crazy.
crazy.
And people kept asking me on Twitter, who's this lady? Because you could watch the live feed of the interview, and that one woman in the front row that kept screaming over the other reporters and trying to scream over Brady.
Obnoxious.
She actually interrupted me in the locker room. She came to my attention a couple hours earlier in the locker room because I was having a personal conversation with Matthew Slater. I've covered Matthew Slater since the day that they drafted him 6 years ago. So he and I have a very good relationship, and we were having a personal discussion one-on-one, and she just barreled herself over and interrupted me as if I wasn't even there. So wow. I was totally not surprised that was the woman who was, if she was rude to me, the fact that she was rude to Tom Brady was not at all surprising. And then there was this other poor girl off to Brady's left, and she just kept screaming about, well, you like 12 and a half PSI, and I think she tried to get her question out a dozen times before she finally could get it out, and then it was the dumbest question ever. I actually want to watch it back as just comedy because it was 30 minutes. It's the perfect length for a sitcom, and it was reality comedy. It was so inane and absurd. It was just amazing.
Shalise Manza Young of the Boston Globe. Okay, let's just break reality for half a second. Let's get crazy and just one question on the game. So we're a week and a half out.
Yes.
I know, this is nuts. Like, brace yourself for this, Shalise. Week and a half out from the Super Bowl. We're going to see you in Phoenix. We're going to hang out with you on Radio Row. What's the one storyline that you're looking to develop between now and kickoff?
I think one thing that's fascinating that's sort of starting to gain steam is that the last time the Patriots played the Seahawks was in the 2012 season. It was in Seattle, and the Seahawks ended up pulling off a late win against the Patriots. And, Richard Sherman had that thing on Twitter where he did the meme that said, "You mad, bro," against Brady. And now just the idea that even the Seahawks are saying that win is what propelled them to the success that, the 2-3 year stretch of success that they're on now. And nobody really knew who Richard Sherman was before then. So here's this cornerback that was certainly had proven to be talented, but didn't really have a national profile. He's attacking one of the NFL's golden boys on Twitter. Not attack might be strong of a word, but you know what I mean? Like, he's going after one of the NFL's golden boys on Twitter. And it just sort of started this whole thing for Richard Sherman. And since then he's on the cover of Madden. And again, very, very talented player. But just the idea that win propels them. And I think just in general, and actually what really stinks is you would think if the Patriots had won this game, the stain of Spygate would basically fade for all but a few of the most bitter fans of other teams. And now this has come up again. So it stinks that the Patriots are now in sort of a no-win situation because, again, there are some players in that locker room that, because I'm in there so much, I have good relationships with, and I really want to see them succeed. And it stinks that their achievements might be diminished because of this. So there's just a lot of things that I'm interested to see. The Pete Carroll, Bill Belichick angle that, people thought Pete was too soft when he was in New England, and Bill is the coach that came after him, and he was the complete and total opposite. And they remain complete and total opposite. So just that, laid-back West Coast vibe that he has, and Bill's very buttoned-up, monotone, unfeeling sort of approach that he gives publicly. There's just a lot of things, I think, that are really interesting about this game, and I hope to hell I can start to write about them soon.
Shalise Manza Young of the Boston Globe. Hey, speaking of something else off the field, Richard Sherman saying that we don't know the real Tom Brady, and he's not as nice as we think he is. Any reaction or repercussions from the Patriots locker room from that over the last 24 hours?
No, I don't think that's not news to anybody. Yeah. People know that Tom Brady talks trash on the field. That's what guys do. These are some of the greatest athletes in the world playing at an incredibly high level. Some guys are quiet on the field, but Brady, that's what he is. I think you're seeing more and more that he's not a robot. He does kind of give you back the Bill Belichick speak when he's at the podium, but if you follow his Facebook page, he's just a laid-back cool guy. You know, that's the one thing that I've reflected on sort of this year, that I've covered the Patriots for 9 years now, and he really is just a laid-back, cool guy. You know, he doesn't really pretend to be anything he's not. I think at his core, even he's stunned by the fact that this chubby kid that grew up in the Bay Area is married to one of the hottest women on the planet, makes millions of dollars a year, and, you know, is worldwide famous because of all this. You know, he still laughs at himself. He really does embrace all of his teammates. There's just not a lot of pretense with him, you know. And again, it's not a secret. If you've watched Tom Brady, he gets in guys' faces on the field. I mean, does he sometimes, you know, beg for a flag when maybe he shouldn't get a flag? Yeah, but all football players do that. I mean, but if a receiver doesn't catch a ball, he's immediately throwing his hands up. Like, it's not that I didn't catch the ball because I couldn't catch the ball. I didn't catch the ball because I was interfered with. This is just how it is now in the NFL. So guys chirp all the time. And, you know, I think other people like the illusion that Tom Brady is perfect, but he would be the first to tell you that he's not.
Yeah. Shalise Manza Young, Boston Globe, on Twitter. Must follow at Shalise M. Young. Shalise, we'll see you in Phoenix next week. Let's do it.
I'll be there.